I just want to wish everybody a happy Valentine's Day to all those plant lovers out there. We're going to be talking about some really awesome planting tools, um, starting with just our mission here and why Land Effects is doing what we do. We are here to make your workflow more efficient so you can spend less time documenting and more time designing, creating, more time spending on your craft. Too much time is spent documenting, and so we want to solve that problem by creating some amazing tools like Highlight Plant, which I'll be going over, as well as Plant Photos, a way to actually place photos directly from Google or your library of plant photos directly on into Paperspace. Going over to a Match Properties feature, which is one of my favorites, and actually we actually made some tweaks to it last night as I was going through the presentation. So I'm excited to show you that, as well as work areas and color render. And as a bonus, I'm going to go over how to set up your plotter to render color even better. So let's get started. I'm going to jump right into, one second while I close my show and get into AutoCAD here. All right, can everybody see my screen okay? All right. So first thing is the Highlight Plant feature. So from the, we have our toolbar from the planting menu here. I'm just going to close that just to show you where it is. Planting menu, go to the label plants, and it's going to bring up the planting toolbar here. And the highlight plant button is located right here. And the highlight plant button was developed as a way to really identify where plants have been placed in a design. So if you were ever wanting to know where you had placed an oak tree, for example, or to analyze some plant massing, it's a really easy way to see that. So all you have to do is simply click highlight plant, select a symbol, or you can also select a label, and it's going to show you exactly where those plants are in your design. However, there has been, this is really great, is that what we do here is we get a ton of user feedback, and this is excellent because we take a feature like highlight plant that starts just simply by highlighting the plant, and we get the feedback from our users, and that takes a good feature and turns it into a great feature that's tailored just for you. And so what we did is we got feedback from Veritas Landscapes in Dubai, and they wanted the ability to select additional. And so what we've done is we've added a couple, or actually be able to select the plants. And so what we did is we added the ability to not only highlight, but the set of plants that is highlighted, you can select S, and it is now, those plants are now highlighted. And what that does is it gives you the ability to move those around. You can change them to a different layer, or you can right block them out to another drawing. There's been several times when I was doing planting plans where I wanted to change, move all the oaks to the base file, and maybe they were existing oaks. And so I had the placement in my planting plan. I moved them over to my base by right blocking or just copying and pasting. Another feature with the highlight plant that I wanted to go over, and I'm going to be moving quickly through some of these so we can spend more time on like work areas and color rendering. So about 5 minutes on each of these features. And so, for example, I have a set of plants highlighted here. And again, I can choose the symbol or the plant label. And I want to make a selection, but I also want to, what is going on here? We have another option, additional. So we type in A, and say I want to highlight all of the trees in the plan. It actually goes through and it highlights all of the trees. And so say, for example, you want to do say a tree plan, or you want to move all these to a different layer, you can do that. And so you have all of them highlighted, and now you press the S button to select. And now you have them all selected, and you can run the wblock command, and you can go through and do whatever you will with that. So that is the highlight plant feature. I'm going to move over to plant photos really quickly. This is a great feature. I don't know how much time I would spend searching Google for the right plant, and uh, and and then saving it to my desktop or my C drive, and then using the extra feature to image reference from my file service, and so, or file folder system. So what Land Effects has done is created a plant photo.
Oh, and actually, Andrew.
Yeah,
Oh, one quick second. I'm sorry, Andrew. We just your resolution is a little big for some people, and so we're gonna toggle the screen resolution down. We
sure.
missed that in the startup here.
So yeah, the plant photos call out. Yeah, I mean, who doesn't put a Google image on their plan? And so with the plant photo call out, what we've created is the ability to, sorry, I am thrown off by this viewport here. When you select the plant photo, you go into you click your viewport and select the plant, and it fires up. It takes the plant name and it fires the Google search. And you can select your the best image that you find, and you click the view image, and it brings up the photo URL where it's found, the plant name, and then the drop shadow as Jeremiah was mentioning, and click OK, and you have the ability to place that.
And
Yeah,
you're in a maximized viewport there, so it's not really in your bottom right. You can get out of there. That little arrow pointing
thank
down.
you.
Just
Sorry
just
about
double
that.
click inside of the viewport. Oh, no worries. I don't know how you got in there.
Yeah, I don't know either. There we go.
There
All
there
right.
we go.
All right, so let me show you that again. So you hit the, you're inside your viewport within Paperspace. You click the plant photo callout. You select any of these symbols. I'm going to click the oak here, and it pulls up it fires the Google search instantly. You select the image that you like, select view image, pulls up all the photo callout information, and you can change the name here if you'd like. Select OK, and you place the tree. I'm actually going to do that one more time. I'm going to select a different image here. Where's a good one? How about that one? And you drag and scale the image to the size that you like. You left click, and then you have a cursor or an arrow and leader line that you can pull to the image. And you see that the viewport is still active, but you have the image here in your, oops, there we go. You have the image that was from the Google search that you selected. It has a plant name, and then it has that nice little drop shadow that Jeremiah mentioned. And what's great is that you can actually, these are all on independent layers that you can freeze. You can freeze the image if you'd like, but you can go through your plan quite quickly and add more plant images, like the allness, for example. That one's appropriate. It's a similar condition to our project. And you can just go and scale the images as you see fit. I hit F8 to turn on my ortho just so I can get that a little bit more aligned into the image there. And you can see how quickly you can add plant photos. But say you have a library that you've collected online that you want to point to. So what you can do is do the same command, select your image or your plant that you'd like to create an image of, and we have this little tab up here called local. And what you can do from here is browse to your photo library and go to any library that you have on your computer and select the image from there. and you can see some of our random images here that we took while we were in Boston. Um, but yeah, that's a place for you to locate images that are actually on your system. So that's a great tool. And like I said, if you do have a plan where you want to use the same sheet, and these are all on layers, so you can, and say you want to use the same sheet for a presentation drawing or your documentation, you can turn these layers off and, oops, each one is on their own layer. So you can go and say run your plant schedule still and throw that into that position. So it's you can use the same drawing for multiple uses. And I'm actually going to move over to one of my one of my favorite features, which is match properties. And like I said, this is something that we even made a last minute tweak to here in the Land Effects Labs. We're always looking for ways to improve the product and its usability. I went through, I'm going to show you really quickly. And so if you have any feedback on a feature, if you like a feature, or if there's a feature that you wish you had, send us a note, and we'll definitely put that on our roadmap and take a look and see how we can possibly implement that into Land Effects. So the match properties is found on the planting toolbar right next to highlight plant. Actually two over from highlight plant, and it's match properties. And what that does is say I want to change these street trees from allness to the palm trees here, the Washingtonia. So I go first, select the match properties button from the toolbar, select the source object, and you can always follow along in the command line down here. So select source object. So I'm going to select the palm, and nothing really changes, but it did in the command line. It says select destination object or objects. So how it worked yesterday is you would go and you would select each individual plant. So it says select destination objects. So what we can do now is, instead of hitting each individual plant, we can actually draw a window around that. And that it just thrills me. And once you draw the window, it selects all of the source or the first destination object, and then you draw the window, and it will change all of the plants within that window. And it works a similar way as the plant label group, as in, so you select the sample plant, and then you draw a window around that, and it pulls up the label. So that's how the match properties works. I'm going to show you again really quickly. I'm going to change, actually I'm going to do a row of trees on this side of the soccer field. I'm going to show you the align along a line, or copy along a line tool. And I'm going to do 12 exact. And it went out a little bit, so I'm going to change that. Let's do 10. There we go, that's a little bit better. So I have those selected. I'm going to do a label really quickly, and I'm going to show you how the match properties works with that as well. So you can move pretty quickly here. So it's called out as allness, and I'm going to go ahead and change those to oak trees. I want a set of oaks over here. So again, select destination. I'm going to pick the first one, and then I'm going to draw a window around. Oops, that didn't work that time, because I think I selected that twice. Select the source, and then draw a window, and it changes all of them. And it's so handy that it even changes the label for you. And so you see that the Quercus is there, and the label has been updated. So that's a really great tool, something that you can use on any size project. And so now I'm going to go over work areas. And work areas, so we went over the highlight plant photos, match properties, and work areas. Work areas are amazing, and it's a tool that I didn't take advantage of when I was in the studio, but I highly recommend it for any size project. It works really well on streetscapes. It works well on a size project like this, where it's different elements within a design. So you have a streetscape, you have a community center, you have a soccer field, and perhaps you want to phase your project. Or you just want to have different scales. You want to set a different scale. Maybe you want to zoom into the streetscape differently than you want to zoom into scale the soccer field, for example. And so I'm going to go over the ways to set scale, and within the viewport you can also do error checking specific to that work area. You can run schedules specific to each work area. So it's a really handy tool, and it's one of those features that we're really encouraging our users to use, because it's really a power feature. It's going to take your documentation, it's going to drop your documentation time dramatically. So let me go over that really quick. I'm going to go ahead and close this toolbar. So from the admin menu, you have an option to define work area. And what that is what we're going to be doing is creating different zones. I'm going to draw an area around the soccer field, one around the community center, and one around the streetscape. And so the first dialog box that comes up is actually naming your work area. And so I'm just going to name this soccer. And again, if you do get lost, look down here at the command line. It says select. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my first point. And then the next option is window. And I'm going to go ahead and type in W for window. And I'm able to then draw a window around all of this. And you'll see that it has a designated color. That color is on a non-plot layer, and it has the name of that work area up here. So I'm going to go ahead and draw another work area around the community center. And again, I'm going to have a name. I'm going to type in community center and pick my first point and type in W for window. And I'm going to draw that window right about there. And you'll see that the name, again, is Community Center here. And these are all non-plot layers. And you'll see that this work area is a slightly different color as a soccer field. And so that's just a visual cue for you. And I'm going to adjust this just a little bit. All right, so I'm going to draw a work area around our streetscape now. I'm going to go to FX Admin, define work area, and I'm just going to call this street.
And you'll notice all those polylines are automatically, the layer they're put on is marked non-plot. So it is a non-plotting layer. You're welcome to make it plottable. You'll see each one is given a different color. You're welcome to, since they're not color by layer, so you are welcome to just kind of grab the polyline and the little text label if you really want to give it a different color. I've also seen other people give it even a polyline width or a line weight width to kind of make it more distinctive. But as far as the system is concerned, all it wants is that polyline and the little piece of text, which is what the title of it is. So it's intended to be very tweakable, basically. If you need to readjust it, move that label, rename the label, and so on.
Yeah, definitely. And again, this is a really powerful feature, and it is very flexible, like Jeremiah was saying. And once a work area is set, it is a polyline, and you can make adjustments to that. And it doesn't you don't have to worry about it actually closing on that point. If you just right click or hit enter, it's gonna close that for you. And you can take this and drag it up, and it will actually take in that new area, or it will respect the new area that you draw. And so the work areas. We have three work areas, and that's great. So now we need to set the scale. And I'm going to show you how I'm doing this in Paperspace. And so what I ended up doing in Paperspace is I created three different viewports at different scales. On the streetscape, this is a metric drawing, so the streetscape is at 1 to 125. Soccer field is at 250, and the community center is 200. So I'm going to go back to Paperspace, and I'm going to set the scale of the work areas. And so I go to FX Admin, um, and select the scale. So I said the soccer field is 250. Oops. Hit OK. And you'll see that a pick box appears. And so what I can do is select the polyline that has been drawn around the soccer field. And now you see that the name right next to the name is the scale. So that's for your reference. I'm going to delete this for a second. And we said the community center was at 200. I'm going to set the scale of this community center to, I believe that was 200. Again, the pick box shows up. Select the polyline, and you'll see that the scale is associated now with the name for your reference. And I'm going to go to the streetscape, and that is going to be 125. Okay, so you know what? I'm actually going to back up one step and show you that one more time with the scale. So with the scale, we have an option down here for rescale objects. So if there are labels already in your within that have already been drawn on your drawing, and you want to change, you create a work area and you want to change that scale, you hit rescale objects, then OK, and you'll notice that the objects within that work area have increased quite dramatically. And so we'll have to go back and we'll have to relay out that area or those labels. But those labels are scaled automatically to that work area for that scale. And I'll show you that in a second here. Just want to verify these labels. Let's go to planting, label plant, and I'm going to create a couple of these labels here. And you'll see that this is a slightly different scale than these callouts. And that is because when we first drew these callouts, they were at 1 to 250, and now they're at 200. So it's going to be slightly smaller. And that's where the setting the scale is, with that option of rescaling the objects, is going to save you some time. So if I went back to hit OK, those should have been rescaled. But I think it's just because I created them, I did the work area first. So I would just need to go back and quickly add a few labels. And if I were going to be doing any dimensioning within this work area, you'd see that all of the text is going to be the same scale or associated with the scale that you set for it. Again, I'm going to change these as well. And I'll just do this really quickly with the arc. And you'll see that that label is now correct. And let's go into Paperspace and see how that works. Okay, so these are all different scales. This is 250, this is 200, and this is 125. But you'll notice that all of the text is the exact same size. So this is a huge, huge time saver for if any of you have struggled with using annotative scale. This is a better solution for you right here. And so, for example, say if you wanted, this is a different phase. Again, this is a great way to not only segment and maybe zoom into a particular area of a site that has more detail, or you have maybe a different phase. So maybe you're working on the community center first, and then the next phase is the streetscape, and then the soccer field. It's a really great way. So I'm going to actually talk about um, a couple other great features about the uh, work areas. And with the work areas, you have the ability to create schedules that are specific to each work area, and you can also do error checking within um, each work area as well. And this, so I'm going to show you how that works. If you click Highlight Plant, you can actually highlight plant um, within this work area. So let me actually select the oak. You'll see that I selected the oak. There's some oaks over here as well, but it only selected the oaks that are within this work area. Likewise, within this work area, and only the palms that are located in this work area. So it actually, the highlight plant respects work areas. The same with plant verification. So if we wanted to work and if we're working, say, on this phase of the project, or say the soccer field, and we wanted to verify if these plants are labeled within this work area, I can do that by selecting, and it looks like it looks like there's a little miscommunication here, but let me try that one more time. There we go. For some reason, there's a little glitch in the matrix there, but you see that none of these are labeled except for these guys. But I can quickly label, say, this set of shrubs, rerun the verification, and the pick box is telling me, asking me to select the work area, and you'll see that those are now labeled correctly. So that's another tool that you can put in your arsenal. So next is the schedule, creating a schedule for each one of these work areas, and this is very, very helpful, as especially on larger scale projects where you have, again, different areas, whether it be a phase or even a bid. If you're going out to bid for a certain part of the design, you can set a work area and create a schedule just for that zone. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Go ahead and hit project plant schedule. And these are the preferences that I set. I'm totally okay with how that is. Again, we have a pick box, and I'm going to select the community center. And it's going to ask me where I want to place that. And you'll see that I have a plant schedule, and then it tells me that this is the community center plant schedule. If I wanted to go and create one for the streetscape, I can go ahead and do the same thing. Go to plant schedule. It's going to say regenerate the existing. I'm going to say no. And then I get that pick box again. And it just pulls the schedule and all the plant material that are on the streetscape, and it says plant schedule street. That's the name of the work area there. And if I want to do the soccer field, then I'm going to hit no. I don't want to regenerate. I want to create a new one for this work area. But say that I wanted to actually combine all of them. Move this over a little bit. And you see that there is a plant schedule for the soccer field. But let's say that I want to create one for the entire site. I'm going to say no. And I'm just going to, oops, I'm sorry, I skipped a step for you. So hit plant schedule, I'm going to hit no. And then you see, once you hit OK, that there's an option down here in the command line. Again, if you ever get lost, look down at the command line. It says all. And so what I'm going to do is hit right click and place my schedule, and you will see that the entire palette is separated out by community center, soccer, and street. So you have one legend that has all the work areas included. Um, and so you have a ton of flexibility with these work areas. We highly recommend that you're using them in your designs of any scale. They're extremely useful. Again, they scale annotations, dimensions, labels, any text to the work area, the scale of the work area, so it shows up in paper space at the right scale. Um, and then you can also do plant verification. You can do highlight plant within these as well. And so they're extremely useful. And so I'm going to move on to uh, color rendering. And so how are we doing on time here? So we 36 after. So I'm going to spend about 5 to 10 minutes going over plant rendering. And really what I want to get to is in this is that there's some options with color rendering, and especially how you set up your plotter to plot color, and it's going to be really helpful for you to know um, how to do this so that when you plot it's presentable. And we're actually talking about ways of even taking a PDF of the color rendering and possibly taking it into not necessarily having a connection, but showing a process for creating color and land effects, and then taking it into Photoshop or Illustrator to do some post-production with that. So let me show you how color render works. From the FX Planting menu, select Color Render. And what that's going to do is it's going to bring up your plant uh, palette, and it's going to have a list of um, color symbols that are associated with each one of the plants. And if there isn't one associated, it's going to ask you to select one. So say the Acer palmatum here is blank. I'm going to go through and select a symbol. I'm going to go ahead and click that one, and then it's going to come up with a color rendering for each one of these symbols. And I'm going to go with that guy. And say there's this guy. I'm just going to go here and pick there. And you'll see that there's an option here for turn off color. I'll get there in a second, but we want to add color at this point. So we hit OK, and you'll see that the plan is now adding color. It's thinking. My wheel's spinning here a little bit, but it just takes you usually just takes a few seconds, depending on how large your project is. While it's thinking, are there any questions that have come in?
Yeah, we did. We had a few little questions there, particularly on those work areas. Reminding people that the logic there on those is it's looking at the insertion point of the plant. So as long as that plant has its insertion point inside of a work area, we can't also support nested work areas, a work area within a work area. So you just kind of tend to be careful, how you draw your work area boundaries and make sure plants are just simply have their insertion point inside of one or the other. So the bounding line is usually pretty easy to juggle. In terms of ground covers, you just want to be sure that you are going to have to split the ground cover manually. Maybe at some point in the future when the AutoCAD region commands are a little more flexible for us, we'll see what we can do with that. But currently you would need to manually have, separate a large ground cover area so that each boundary is either inside of one work area or the other. But otherwise, that was it on questions. So
Okay,
go ahead
cool.
and shut up.
Yeah, feel free to ask any questions in that question box as you see them. And you'll see that this actually is the ground covers are actually above the trees at this point. So I don't actually know what happened there, but
It's just your plot transparency is unchecked.
Exactly. And so, yeah, the actually the ground cover should be below the trees, but that's what I was going to get to is that you'll see that this in the plot preview is uh, if this is the style that you're going for, then that's great. But there's a better style that you can get. This is very kind of chalky, and so as Jeremiah mentioned, if you select the plot transparency feature, you'll notice that in your drawing, you'll see that you'll actually be able to see through the symbol. And you'll see that the line work is showing through the symbol. And you'll see the edges of the paving. You'll have more depth with all of your trees and your symbols. And it's going to give you a better look um, than uh, than otherwise. And Jeremiah, can you remind us when that plot transparency that feature came into play? Was it
I
2011?
believe I believe it was 2011. And then another thing too, actually, if you wanted to go ahead and if you were to switch to model space and run the color again, that's something that we've been tracking in terms of that draw order.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the draw order works swimmingly, sometimes not so much. And I think what we're going to end up doing is we're just going to make the color render forcefully switch to model space. But if you go ahead and just click, rerun it here in model
Yeah,
space, it should do the draw order correctly. And so I said, I
cool.
think I think I'm just going to make color render switch to model space first. You'll notice now the ground covers should be correctly underneath the plants. Um, and yeah, it was 2011 is when transparency finally came out. And BricsCAD has some transparency support, but not complete. But yeah, I can already tell immediately that that's got better ordering, huh?
Yeah, and that's I mean that's something that we're constantly doing in the Land Effects Labs is that we're looking at our product and we're always looking to improve it. We're not stopping. Every week we're doing updates. Every week we're looking at ways to make the user experience better or adding a capability to an existing feature. And so if you guys at any point you come up with an idea, feel free to shoot us an email. It's something that we're doing on a daily basis. Is looking at ways to improve this product for you. And so this color rendering is an example, is the order. And so we have that, you see that in model space, the order is much better. So I'm going to show you in paper space how that looks. Again, the plot transparency is not checked. I just want to show you the difference here. So you have the, that actually looks much better than the previous example. Um, you'll see that obviously there's no transparency. You can't see through any of the symbols. And if that's a look you're going for, that's fine. But there is another option here. It's called plot transparency. And again, this you'll see being able to see through the plants to the through the ground covers, seeing the shrubs, seeing the edges of paving. That adds some depth to your presentation drawing, and you see how quickly that was rendered. Hand graphics are awesome. But if you are in need of something really quick, just to add some color to a presentation, this is an awesome feature. And again, we're looking at ways to taking a PDF or taking a color rendering here that is created in Land Effects and maybe exporting it to Photoshop and thinking of even ways of presenting there and showing you some tips on how to do that. So
Oh, while you
with
have that, Andrew, if you could, before you jump on,
mhm,
um, go ahead and click on the schedule button to regenerate the schedule, and then go ahead and turn off the shadows just to really show the full
sure,
effect of the color
yeah,
render.
definitely. All right, so I'm going to regenerate the schedule, and you'll see that all of the plants are now um, the same color as the plan. And you said you wanted me to turn off the shadows as well, or turn them on?
Turn them on if you have the shadows is still separate from the color render to control the angle there. But exactly. So now that's a pretty sharp presentation right there.
Yeah, I'm going to select the plot transparency. And yeah, you see that the shadows are drawn on the plan, and it's quite impressive. And I'm wondering if the draw order 2 there is something that we can look at, because I do see that the shadows are placed over the trees. And so as far as an order goes, um, you may want to turn on the plant shadows first and then run the color rendering. Either way, this is an extremely powerful tool, something that's going to save you tons of time in preparation for your presentations. And so there's something called line merge, another plotting setting that you can set up in your plotter, not just the plot transparency, but in particular with the PDF settings. So what I'm going to do is actually take you to our new documentation page that we just designed this week. It's another way we're trying to improve the user experience for our users. When you're looking for an answer, you're going to our website. It's a resource for you too. It's a go-to resource that allows you to find what you're looking for easier. So let me jump over there real quick. All right, excuse my desktop here. So I'm going to go to landeffects.com. And we have, if you want to remember this link, it's just landeffects.com/docs. And this is the new look of our documentation. We're really proud of this. This is something that we put tons of work in. And you'll see that the documentation is broken out into several different categories here, starting with admin. If you just click on admin, you'll see some documentation articles, installation. If you have any questions about installation, you'll see it there. Office standards, setting up your preferences, some of the general tools, troubleshooting. If you have any questions, this is a place where you can ask a question, and you'll see common troubleshooting tips. And there's a link here for plotting, and this is where I want to take you right now. So you'll see that this is a new layout for our documentation. You'll see the plotting section. And one of the, I'm going to actually go back and set up your plotter for lines merge. So I click on that, and you'll see at the top here, there's a you are here set of breadcrumbs. And so this is another way that we're making the documentation more user-friendly, is that at any point during the documentation, you're going to see the breadcrumbs up here. You're going to know where you were, and you know where you came from. So I'm here at Set Up Your Plotter, Lines Merge. The previous page was plotting, and it's going to take me right back there. So I can go to back to the administration and plotting again, lines merge. So enough of the navigation of the new documentation system. I do want to show you that this resource is available for you through our documentation. But setting up, you can watch the video here. But really what you want to do is you set up, first download the PDF 995 driver. When you go to your properties in the plot manager, this will walk you all the way through it. There's an option for merge control. And you want to make sure that the lines merge option is selected so that that transparency, when it's set, you're not just going to see through the trees, but you're also going to see the line work of the edges of your paving, of any walls, of any hardscape features. You're going to actually see that coming through. And that we found makes for a better presentation drawing. And again, this is found in our new documentation section under admin and plotting. You'll see that there's a link here for setting up your plotter for lines merge. Click on that article and you'll find your way. So with that, that's the end of my presentation. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Yeah, I think we do got a couple questions. One that I thought was good to show, if you go back to the color render actually, and
Hmm.
pick one of the tree symbols, I wanted to kind of um, show I mean, I should click on, I'm sorry, click on the color render tool and then select one of the trees in the dialog box. Um, the 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 library of symbols there, the intention, which we may be massaging this, but the intention as we thought worked best was starting with very simple symbols, getting more line complex, and as you scroll down to that bottom, you'll see that particularly the 800 series are the very complex with multiple colors. So if you click one, scroll all the way to the bottom, what we've been finding though now is the 700 and 800 series are some of the more popular symbols with a variety of colors and the very, very complex form. And so we're now thinking maybe we should put these actually at the top because people already remarked they tend to keep having to scroll all the way to the bottom to kind of get the more complex looking symbol that they like. But do give us your feedback on kind of which of these symbols you end up kind of using. As you can see, is basically as the tool was designed, our stab at it was that basically we were looking at more essentially a larger scale plan, and we thought the more simple single color symbols would be far more prevalently used. But we're kind of hearing somewhat anecdotally kind of the opposite of that. And so do please give us your feedback on the color render tool and kind of your preference for which are your favorite symbols and such. Um, and so that was multiple questions on that.
That's actually
Um,
really beautiful. Yeah, like I mean, personally, I mean, it really depends on the application too. If you're going to post-production, the simpler color choices might be better. But if you're wanting something really quick, like Jeremiah said, these multiple colored ones are fantastic. Um, so it really just depends on your preference there. Any other questions, Jer?
and I believe I got to everything. We did have a lot. I was able to type out answers to all of them. I'm just trying to see myself, but you know what? I think I did. If I didn't quite answer your question fully, or we didn't answer it completely, do please just send us a quick email. We're happy to help you out with that. Otherwise, happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
Yeah, let me actually bring up my yeah, definitely happy Valentine's Day. Um, just want to bring up our again a couple of the resources here. Where is my? There we go. So here's a couple of the resources again. Landeffects.com/docs. That's our new documentation. Definitely check it out. This is something we've worked really hard on. We're continuing to work on and developing each of the documentation articles for you guys to be able to find what you're looking for more quickly and easily. So we're about efficiency here. Another thing too is power tips. Definitely check out our power tips. It's something we're doing every week, and we're highlighting features that were recommended by users, and we want to bring attention to them because we think they're really powerful and they're going to empower your workflow. So we've been creating those power tips, and then feel free to stay connected to me. You can shoot any of us an email through support@landeffects.com, or if you want to get in touch with me personally, it's andrew@landeffects.com, and if you're on the Twitter sphere, I'm at Andrew Spearing. So again, thank you very much. Jarrett, you want to send us off?
Certainly. Everybody, have a great weekend. Been a pleasure. And let's keep on keeping on. And thank you again. I mean, I just saw so many things and so much of this. All these ideas came from users, and it just really has been a wild ride for me. And I really appreciate all of the collective energies of the whole NFX community. So stay connected with us. Thanks so much. Have a great weekend.